You know what happens? When that leader does little tripping, he's the devil. Because when you with God, you can't be anything in between. Once you no longer go, when you make the slightest mistake, you're the devil. And if you go along with that, you'll constantly be pro so-and-so, and then against the same so-and-so. No, just tell yourself all the time. The pharaohs in Egypt had a practice. The pharaoh had to have a, what do you call very short people? A dwarf. Thank you.
The twat.
No. They had to have a dwarf walking around the pharaoh all the time and telling the pharaoh when people are clapping and saying, "Yeah, great pharaoh, you are God on earth, great pharaoh, there's great pharaoh," and the dwarf will pull his, remember, you're just human. It was an excellent practice. Kept the pharaoh balanced, keep him from going crazy in his head. This is necessary for other people. In order to motivate us, we need to have somebody in front of us that we give all kind of praise to. Yes, it's good for us, but it's bad for them that we give the praise to. So the dwarf is there to remind him, hey, this here is just a joke, don't take it seriously. You're just a human being. You're just a human being. Very important. We have to do that for ourselves. We have to be the person who's being clapped and be our own dwarf. Telling ourselves all the time, don't take it seriously. You're just human. And if you do this, then it will keep you from going back and forth to on your position with different people. Like right now in IT, a lot of people who saw Aristide as God are now seeing him as the devil. But I loved him before, and I still love him. He's only human. He did what he could, and he failed at certain things. That's human. I don't have to turn him into a devil for that. Protect ourselves. Knowledge. Love cannot exist without knowledge. You cannot love yourself if you don't know who you are. You must know this here that we see, and you must know the you that we don't see. There is a you that only you can know. You need to know this you. Go meet her. Go meet him. Have a dialogue. And together, you and you, make a plan for a better life. Make a plan for a life of victory. Remember, your plan will be worth nothing if it's not a plan that will benefit the nation. Serve each other. There is no shame in it. In fact, Dessalines once was asked, he asked, what is power? And people gave big speeches on what is power. But Dessalines' power is the ability to serve those who are around. He went further and said, on the plantation, nobody knew me. I was a slave like all the other slaves. Until one day, the slavers put some brothers to the iron with no food for so many days. And me, that day, I was served 2 boiled sweet potatoes. So I took one, I cut it in 2 pieces. Took the other, cut it in 2 more pieces. I stuffed 1 piece, I washed out, stuffed 1 piece in one brother's mouth, stuffed 1 piece in another brother's mouth, and I ate the last one. From that day on, I became somebody on the plantation. I was never seen as a slave like all the others. This is my second step up. I was witness to certain slaves who did something. And when the master came asking who did it, they knew I saw who did it. But I refused to speak. So they tied me up and whipped me for several hours. I never spoke. In the end, they decided I was too good a worker for them to lose. So they stopped the beating. But for all the others who witnessed this, who knew that I knew who had done it, and those guys were not even my friends, I became someone else. Anything but not a slave. You see, power doesn't wear any particular garment. Power is something within. You have it. It cannot be given to you. You develop it through your actions, not your words. You can walk bare feet. You can have no house and be the most powerful person. No one can make you do what you don't want to do. And everyone dealing with you will recognize you as a powerful person. Powerful person with no money in their pocket. Yes. But powerful. Courage has nothing to do with money. Truth has nothing to do with money. Building good character has nothing to do with money. So if we are going to value ourselves according to how much money we have, we're going to be in very bad shape. And when you will have accumulated all the money there is, you will feel so miserable. You will be looking for a poor person to do something for your morale. You will be envying beggars in the street. I'm sure each one of us here knows somebody who seems to have everything, and yet is the most miserable person that you know. So that cannot be an objective in somebody's life. Accumulation of things, no. But at the same time, you don't have to be afraid of wealth. Wealth cannot make you. If a lot of wealth comes to you, it shouldn't change your character. It should not change your purpose in life, because you're still looking to build good character. Each day better than the next one. So you can't sit down and say, well, I was very good. Yesterday I gave to the poor. On Sunday I put in the church. So I'm a good person. I don't need to do anything else anymore. Sorry, that's not a good person. No. It's each day. What did you do today to make your life a better life than yesterday? Thinking is an action verb. It's an action word. You don't think just like that. No. Thinking is a process. You have to sit down and decide, I'm going to think about this. This is a problem. What kind of solution I think on it for an hour today. I don't find a solution. That's okay. I'll think on it an hour tomorrow. I'll think on it another hour next week. There is no guarantee that because you spend 2 minutes saying, well, how do I pay my rent? Oh boy, there's no solution. That's for sure. No. Thinking is a process. And if you don't have the habit of thinking, you don't know how to think. Don't fool yourself. Just because words or images go through your mind, it does not mean you are thinking. To think, you need silence. You need to know what you're thinking about. You need to understand the process within yourself. If you can do all of this, you are not thinking. Don't tell lies to yourself. And it's important. We need to teach ourselves to think. Because you can't find solutions to problems if you're unable to think. And Vodoun, through Vodoun, our ancestors gave us the fundamental principles. The work is easy now. If they tell us fire in this room, what are we going to do here? All of us run to the door? Huh? I didn't hear anything.
Somebody got to check it out. Somebody check, put it out. I'm going to try.
You're going to try and put it out. And the rest of us are going to sit in here and wait until you put it out.
First thing, come up with a plan and evacuation. Get the people out of here.
We need several people operating at the same time. We are many of us in here. All of us are not going to do the same thing. A legba should rise up immediately and create the space for us to get out, to get the children, the weak, the sick out quickly. All of us will be legbas in certain ways. Because we're not going to try to push this brother here or push this one here to get, no. I want to create a space for you to go through. You want to create a space for her to go through. He wants to create a space for her to go through. We all want to go. And Aizan's going to be saying, to the right, all the women line up this way, all the men this way. We're just going to hear and obey. It's not a dictatorship. That's organization. Even though the master dictator has conditioned us to believe when a black man gives an order, it is a dictator. But when a white man tells you what to do right into your bedroom, it's okay. No. Black men must tell us what to do. Black women must tell us what to do. And we have to learn to obey each other. We are here, Brother Inuni is the general. If anything is going down here, we want to hear what he's got to say. And we're not all going to talk when he's talking. We're going to have enough discipline that when we'll go over there, tell us, ladies, put up sisters this way, brothers that way. And we're going to do exactly what he's going to say. Unless we see that there is something else he did not see, then we're going to send that information to him. We must understand this. Life is organization. Just look at your body. You think the heart is going to say one of these days, if your heart was to say, okay, I'm tired of this pumping blood here. I never get to taste the food. Pumping blood is boring. The lungs are going to say, well, you know, I've been pumping air all this time. Now it's time for me to taste a little wine. It is an organization, well structured. Each person has something, or each organ has something very specific to do. When one organ stops doing what it is supposed to do, it creates chaos for the entire system. 99% of our problems, we don't control our mind. Our mind is supposed to control everything. But we decide, we operate, we don't decide, we just exist this way. Oh, I see this is good. Hamburger, hot dog, cha-cha-cha, cha-cha-cha, something chewing all the time. No control. Your mind has to control. Mind has to take over. Mind has to say when your mouth is going to taste something. And when mind says no, it's no. You have to organize here. That's the first universe. If we can control this universe here, ain't nothing we're going to control. We cannot control this room. Sorry. Gotta operate here, control this. Yeah. Yeah. Brother's good looking. I like him. He looks good. I can imagine all kind of wonderful things we could do together. But I have a mission in my life. Can he contribute to my mission? Can he advance, help me advance in what I have as an objective? All the good-looking guys in the world can't do that for me. So I'm not going to be involved with this brother when he cannot contribute to what is important into my life. My life is not my body. So sometimes we have to make a choice. Yeah, that would be good in the mouth, but it would be bad for the heart. So the mind is going to decide, but it's not going in the mouth. Yeah, I'd love to taste some of that, but it will be bad for my tension, for my hypertension, for my blood pressure, for my... Then it's not going to go in my mouth. Mind is a general, and it decides, and what it says goes. Don't tell me, oh, I just didn't notice when it went into my mouth. What? You know that's a lie. And you see, if you can't control this little world here, you don't even need to deal with spiritual. Spiritual is out. Spiritual is out. Gotta master the physical. That's your first step. You want to be strong spiritually? That's why, what do you see? In every kind of convent or structure where people go to develop their spirituality, they fast, they exercise, they do all kinds of things with their body in order to control. If you don't have any control over this here, you're not going to have control over anything. That's right. So don't even talk about spirituality until you control this. Master this. Then the rest will be easy. Yes, you're right. It's time for me to stop talking and give other people a chance. I agree with you. On this note, I listened to the youngest member of this assembly, and I shut my mouth. I do have one more thing with your permission, young lady. We do have a lecture. In fact, I wrote the lecture for yesterday, but I never read it. And today again, I came with it, but I didn't read it. So other things had to come out. But the lecture is available in the back.
Sisters and brothers, I think that the experience we've just shared here is a little different. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
And of course, this comes out of a tradition. Can you come in, please? Excuse me, Sister Bayyinah, can you come in, please? You know, if you look at our flyer, you'll see that over the past couple of years, we've lost a couple of brothers. And what we're doing is just celebrating the life of our brothers Amos Wilson and James. So just keep them in your prayers, keep them in your memory, because these are two brothers who served us and gave up much by way of sacrifice. So we've honored them by just noting them on our flyers. You notice that Amos Wilson passed on the 14th of January in '95, and James almost a year to the date, a year ago. So please keep these brothers in memory. But at the same time, whilst we're celebrating the contributions of those brothers, we're going to celebrate two birthdays today. And these are the individuals whose birthdays we're going to celebrate. Okay. Go ahead, sing. Happy birthday to you. All right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Okay, Stevie Wonders. We have a cake for each of these sisters and brothers. And on behalf of all of us, I think this, let me get this right. This goes to you from the family. This goes to you from the family. Now, these are two hard-working individuals. I guess this is the Earl of Haiti, and this is the Bayyinah of No, these are two hard-working folks, and now it makes sense. Everything evolves, doesn't it? Everything makes sense. Everything makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. So, on behalf of all of us, happy birthday. Sister Bayyinah's birthday was last Tuesday.
Yes.
And Earl's birthday will be this Tuesday. Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, it's not my birthday. We're born in South Africa, and hopefully by then the brothers will take care of business in Zaire.
Yes, right. That's right.
I hope that they do catch that scumbag Mobutu and deal with him, irrespective of the fact that he has Serbs protecting him now. First it was the Israelis, and now he has Serbs. But I don't care who he gets. When his time is up, it's up.
Time's up.
Time's up, yeah. So there are flyers at the back. Any other announcements? I know you have questions, so are you ready to go again, Bayyinah?
Yes, sir.
You don't have a question, you have a statement.
A question. I'll wait till
Okay, so let's welcome back our sister Bayyinah.
Good evening. Thank you for your informative lecture. I have a question concerning cults. How does one try not to become involved in a cult. And what is a cult?
Okay. That's a very, very interesting question. You see, we have to look at connotations and then we have to look at meanings. Okay? Those who have the media power to tell people whatever they want have the power to call anything that they don't like, don't approve of, that does not serve their purpose, any sets of belief that does not serve their purpose, to baptize it a cult, and that way keeping a certain number of people away from it. But in as far as I am concerned, in my own belief, my own mind, all religions, don't forget we said religion is the business of selling that which you cannot see. All religions have their cults, have their little pockets and corner, because as any belief, okay, if we take Christians, Catholics, Christians come up, they say, okay, God's name is Jesus, and Mary, and Joseph, and this, and this, and that. Within this group, another group broke up and said, well, we don't agree with the Mary part. So they form a different group that believes in all of the above except Mary. Then within another group is going to split up again and say, okay, well, we just want to accept the Pope in Rome. That business of Pope in Rome, that's out. King, religious king or president, out. We don't want that. So you will have the Episcopalian. You will have another group that will come and say this, this, and that. If the group, when they first break out, they are all called cults by the main group. If the group grows, have enough followers, it grows and becomes important, they will stop calling it cult, it will become a religion. If it never becomes very important in number of people, in of course, finance, because number of people mean finance, okay, then it will remain a cult. So we don't have to enter his set role of set code, okay? People create different belief sets, the sets of belief or way of functioning or believing all over the world, all the time. In any one place in Africa, you can find 10,000 different expressions of the same basic principles. Are they cults? No, they're not cults. That's just the way that they view things, because what it is in the end is your conception of the universe, how the world was created, who's the ultimate power. It's all dealing with the same thing. So people can, depending on their situation, they will create every kind of belief that they want. And they're free to do it. The only thing they're not free to do is to impose it on other people. Okay? So, whatever somebody believes, I'm not one who's going to call your belief a cult. I'm not even going to call it a religion either. Because I don't know if you're doing a business with it. If I observe that it's a big business, then I will call it a religion. But otherwise, I will just say that is your belief and I have no problem with you. Okay? So we're not going to enter into this word game. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I guess I'd like to know, what was your opinion on Shaka Zulu? They had it on Channel 9 last, it was Thursday and Friday. They said he was one of the strongest warriors ever.
Remember what we said earlier. All of our ancestors, all those who came before us, who fought to improve our lives, we owe them respect. When we learn about them, we want to take their strength, and the rest is of no interest to us. Yes, indeed, Shaka Zulu was a great black man. What is important for me to know? He was a great black man living in South Africa who attempted to avoid having the whites come and occupy the land. That he failed is not important to me. What is, when I'm studying him, I want to know his strength. This is a man of character. That is important. A good warrior, certainly. A man who believes in building your body, because when they're talking about he forbid his soldiers to wear shoes because their feet would become soft. Or when the shoes broke off, then you were handicapped on the battlefield. Whereas if you were fighting bare feet, your feet were accustomed to stepping on everything, and so you had no problem of something breaking while you were fighting. So to me, that makes sense. This is a man who wanted to build the kind of body that was necessary for the actions that he was leading. As far as the film is concerned, I am sure there is a great deal in it that I will have to close my eyes to, close my mind, and especially close my heart to. When we look at who wrote it, when we look at who directed it, when we look at who chose who did what and how things were done, I will have to take a lot of distance with this. But basically, if you're asking me about the personality, Shaka Zulu, I say a great black man who attempted to bring his stone into the construction of black folks. I have no problem.
All right. Now, it's all clear.
No questions? I did a very bad job.
Oh, no.
Well, yeah, there's a chronic concept of Amanat God. We believe in the unseen. I mentioned this particular concept. I want you to expand on the notion of what you're talking about, the unseen or unseen beings, spirituality, and also I want some of your comments on nutrition, because there are some scholars who talk in such a way that you can listen, that spirituality or anything that they can't see in terms of this, anything they can't see, they seem to have some sort of a Eurocentric thing that's not existing. They seem to be more spirituality and nutrition from their outlook on life. So I'd like you to speak somewhat, to extend or expound somewhat more on unseen beings from an Afrocentric perspective. Also, could you say something also in terms of nutrition and diet?
Well, I'm not certain. It's not totally clear what you're looking for. But from what I've gathered, you are wondering what is my concept when you're talking about what is unseen. What is unseen is all that we cannot see and yet we know is. If I say, it's fine for those who want to say that yes, all is scientific fact, this man meets this woman, the egg, the sperm, so many degrees, so many hours, pregnancy, a child will come. Okay, you want to tell me it's just that? Fine. But I know. I don't say I think. I say I know that there is more to life than that which I see. And when we study the biography of various so-called great intellectuals who've thrown this non-existence of something other than matter, that matter is all there is in this world, those who prone this belief, we find that when they are sick, when they are dying, they call for people who are experts on the unseen. Example, what's the name of this guy? French, huh? No. More closer, Sartre. Jean-Paul Sartre. Very famous man for talking is nothing but what he can see, that everything is what we see, there is nothing more to it. Well, When he was dying, he sent for a priest to give him extra unction. Okay, I agree that he wrote wonderful books about matter. But he also had relationships with all kind of people, and he talked about he loved, and he talked about he feels, and he talked about a lot of things that he cannot show me. Therefore, his whole theory about matter is it. He has demonstrated is not. Number one. If we were to give one more example, there's also Margaret Mead, big-time anthropologist, who did a lot of harm to the people of Samoa through her books, denigrating their different belief systems. Well, when she was dying of cancer, it so happened that life put me there I was at the American Museum as a public relations officer. And when she was in the hospital, she was asking for hunga and voodoo doctors and all kinds of people when she felt that death was there. She no longer trusted in her great science. So, we have a lot of examples. We may not be able, we can of course, if I say I believe in the unseen, I cannot show you that which is unseen. But then I am comfortable saying I feel, I believe, I have a sensation, I have a premonition. I can use a whole lot of things. I am free to do this, and it's correct that I have these verbs in my vocabulary. But if you tell me that unseen does not exist, then you cannot tell me about you think. Because thinking, you cannot see. You believe, you cannot believe. Just show me what you're talking about. Don't talk to me about what you believe. Since matter is all there is. So you see, they quickly run into problems. Those who've gone when you're thinking, when you're not being conditioned by their words. You can very easily demonstrate. They cannot demonstrate that matter is all there is. Okay? Now as far as nutrition. Nutrition, listen, we have this little machine here. They have entrusted to us to care and cherish. It's almost like a marriage. The spirit in the body, marriage. And we're supposed to use our power to reason, which is unseen, our power to think, our power to reflect. All of these are unseen powers. We must use them to treat this body as it should be in order to get the best and the most out of it. If I control what I eat, and I observe myself to know what, it's not just I read in a book, lettuce is good for you, so I'm going to eat lettuce at morning, noon, and night. No. If lettuce is good for me, I'm going to eat lettuce and see how my body reacts to lettuce. Lettuce may be very good, but not good for this particular body. So I must eat lettuce and look at what happened to this body. And there is a constant dialogue. We must not be afraid of facts. When I eat, I'm going to urinate. I'm going to defecate. These are information, vital information for me to know what's going on with my body. The minute I go, I look at what happened, and it's going to tell me something about what's going on in here. There is something that you eat. You should know the natural color of your urine. I cannot know it. You have to know it. The doctor cannot know it either. You, and only you can know the natural color of your urine, the natural color of your feces. Now, once I go, and I always check what's happening, as soon as I see the color changing, I feel the temperature changing, I feel the texture changing, I know something is wrong. Then I must look at what did I put in my mouth. I have to go back in history. Gotta have history. Go back, check out what did I put in my mouth. Now I'm going to see, I ate this and I have this. Something is wrong there. Okay, I'm not going to eat this for 3 days and observe what happened. I see that everything went back to normal. Now, on the 4th day, I'm going to eat a little bit of it again. The thing that I didn't eat for 3 days. And I'm going to see if this particular thing brings this particular reaction. If it changes what is normal, then something is wrong. It's going to, in the long run, bring you some serious harm. It's going to do you some serious harm. And it's not because you don't go to the doctor doesn't mean you're not sick. You may not have any major symptoms, but you have things that are doing little harm continuously, and they're building up. Then you also have to know your reaction to pain. Certain people, like Ogu folks, don't feel pain. My teeth will totally spoil, turn rotten, and eat up the gums in my mouth, and I don't feel it. Somebody else, before there is a real carie, will already be crying about a toothache. I won't. I have problem when I'm having a baby because I don't feel the pain. I can't tell. I need to let the child go. I have to develop a sense about it so I can go to the hospital. So I will carry many problems. If I'm not careful with myself, I will not look for solutions. Whereas somebody else who's more sensitive, as soon as there's a tiny little problem in the tooth, they're going to go to the dentist. They're going to find out. They're going to be able to do something about it very early. You see? So you have to know all this about you. That's the best way to keep yourself healthy. You have to know, when I'm wearing 125 pounds, is that good for me? Do I feel good? Do I walk up the stairs with no problem? When I'm wearing 145 pounds, don't read what they say in the book. That a woman your height should be this and that. They have determined that for themselves. It has nothing to do with you. You need to find out what your thing is. I will never say to somebody, you too big, you too small, you too this, you do it. No. I don't know how she feels. I don't know how she's handling the weight that she's carrying. I know some very, very big people who are much lighter on their feet than I am. They run up the stairs and they do all kinds of things that I can't do. But it's important for you to know what is right for you. If you're wearing a weight that as soon as you take 4 or 5 steps, you go, you need to check it out. Even if you look very slim and everybody say, oh, you're sexy, it doesn't mean that it's so. Look how your body reacts to what you do to it. You eat this, does it constipate you? You eat that, does it send you constantly to the bathroom? You need to check that out. What is it that you eat that makes you feel comfortable doing everything? Elimination and everything else goes naturally. If it goes naturally, you have no problem. But you need to identify these things. Sometimes I hear people saying, oh, boy, I see potatoes. I can't eat them, but boy, I have to have some. What is this? What's wrong with you? Oh, I'm going to break out with them. You're going to break out, don't put it in your mouth. Breaking out is nothing. It's the part that you see. But the harm that it's doing inside that's causing the breaking out, you don't know what it is. What damage is that to your heart? What damage is this to your lung? Nutrition is very important, but you can't just take a book and apply what the book says. There's no book that knows you. You have to experiment. You are scientists on this earth. You must constantly be experimenting. Checking things out, taking notes, and knowing what to do. Your body changes all the cells in it, bones and flesh, every 7 years. The person you are at 7 is not the person you are at 14, is not the person you are at 21. So every time this total change has occurred, there is space for changes, for all kinds of other changes. You must observe that. You'll find that at 14, you are allergic to milk, and then at 20, so you don't drink it. At 25, you may discover you're no longer allergic to milk. You may find you were never allergic to anything, and then at 35, you discover you've always eaten this thing all the time. And suddenly, hey, whenever you eat it, there is a reaction. Listen to your body. Don't eat it. Observe, check out, see what's happening. Talk, deal with your body. Yes, ma'am.
What is the state of Vodoun now in Haiti?
In Haiti today, I'm sorry.
And, you know, the changes that you hear with the IMF want to impose their, you know, bringing in their food and having the people that farm not to farm their crops anymore. How is the nation doing?
Of course, we're doing very badly on a certain level. Certainly there is an improvement from the period of the coup. There's an improvement in as far as people being slaughtered all day long and people being threatened continuously. There's an improvement there. There is less. There isn't this institutionalized slaughtering of people today. But we must know facts. Occupation has never been good for anybody. I don't see why it should be good for Haiti. Occupation always, I don't say sometimes, I said always bring the cost of living multiplied by 5. That's minimum. Occupation always brings prostitution, rampant prostitution. Occupation always brings prostitution inside the home, in the family. Colonel James, Captain John Hancock, is not going to go for a prostitute in the street. He's going to come to this big, beautiful house. He's going to buy these people and take their little girl for his vices. So that's a reality. And it goes on. And people don't talk about it. In the very beginning, we spoke a little bit more. They also had, when the U.S. military was in great number in the country, they, what's the term? They used different machines, vibrators and other garbage, stuffed them inside little girls, 12, 14, 15, ripped their insides with them. There are quite a few cases. Of course, these people have never been judged for these crimes because we are not courageous. We are not acting on Ogu nowadays. The Ogus are sleeping. So the reality is very tough. And with this whole, yes, the FME wants to put Haiti, put handcuffs on Haiti and the people of Haiti. And there are a lot of, there's an attempt among certain social groups. A lot of people today, some people are starting to talk openly against the occupation. A certain number of people are even talking about arming themselves and taking care of business. Well, we pray and we wait. We'll see how it will go down. Occupants never leave. They must be kicked off. Yes, brother. I'm sorry.
Oh, you want to expand on Disney World too?
Well, it's the same old trash. It's nothing new. We've had it with Sears and Roebuck. We'll have it with JCPenney. We'll have it with Kmart. Same thing. They make you work for 13 cents, and what you make, they sell it for 10 millions. It's the same old stuff. Nothing, special. Yes, sir.
I consider myself a spiritualist, which is a combination shaman, bureau, priest, politician, whatever. I spent a lifelong search to look at various religions, their similarities and their contradictions, in order to look for a solution to the problem that we face dealing with the Europeans. The European has a religion that is based on a war-setting principle. Some religions say that you have a second chance. Some religions say there's no chance at all. Some religions say you can do anything you want to and come back again and try it over if you didn't do it right. Some religions say there's a war between the good and evil. Their particular religion, Christianity, says that there's a war between good and evil. And it all depends on which side you're on, whether you win or lose. They always come up with the proposition that they are on the right side. And everything they do is based on this fact. And it's a war setting. They do what they do to us because they have a battle plan and they stick to it. The problem with us is that we don't recognize that this is what they're doing. I want you to address this and see if you can talk about how people don't recognize where these people stand as far as warfare is concerned.
Actually, I do not believe that we don't recognize it. I think it's so glaring, we more than see it. But we don't have the courage to admit to ourselves that this is the fact. Because once you say that is so, then you also must have the courage to take the proper response, to give the proper response. And since we don't want to have to give the proper response, we rather pretend we don't see what's going on. But in fact, even blind, deaf, and dumb, under drugs of all sorts, laying down in the gutter, we still know white man is out to get our throat.
That's the truth.
We know it. We just don't want to face up to it. Because we don't want, we must, the courage, we haven't mustered the courage to face up to it.
That's the exact response I thought you were going to give.
I also would like to add, it is important that we stop concentrating on what the Europeans are doing to us, have done to us, are doing, will do. We must have the courage to assume our part in our destruction. We actively participate in our destruction. If I take Haiti as an example, certainly white man is manifesting everything. To remove our receipt, the white man paid Michel Francois and Cedras and this one and that one, paid them to set up the coup. But they didn't.
Right, and they knew better.
White man arranged for Aristide at first said he didn't want to go to the United States. But in the end, he came to the United States. White man pressure, but he didn't. We marched and demonstrated, Yes, Aristide will go back. No, Aristide won't go back. Yes, Aristide. White men say yes. White men say no. White men say get up, sit down, get up, sit down. We played the game for 3 years. And in the end, and throughout it all, white men said, well, you could go back tomorrow if you go with a U.S. occupation. No, we don't want U.S. occupation. We could go. After 3 years, we said, oh yeah, that's the only solution. Yes. So no matter how much white man played, we didn't have the determination to stand up and say, look, we'll all grow old right here saying he must go back, but not with U.S. occupation. We didn't. After 3 years, there's something that was sick to my stomach. Looking at us on television, celebrating the return with 26,000 U.S. Army men, 90 pounds of weapons on each man. We accepted it. We clapped and said, yeah, wonderful. Liberation has come with the U.S. occupation. That was our part. We must face up to ourselves. We must tell ourselves the truth. Yes, there's no doubt. White man is the devil.
Yes, ma'am.
No doubt about it.
Maybe that he been-
But even the devil negotiates. And we say yes, ultimately. We accept to play with him. We must face up to that. We must address that. Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming today, Sister. I'm sorry I missed the early parts of your presentation, but I wanted to know if you could tell us more about what are the positive things that our people are doing on the ground in IET at this time, some of the revolutionary things that are happening. You spoke a little bit about it a minute ago. And also, could you kind of talk a little bit more about that revolutionary path to courage, you know, that we must be on in the process of nation building?
Okay, yes, it's true. There are a lot of very positive things going on. To put it, I don't want to be too long, but to put it in a nutshell, as usual, the people are ahead of their so-called leaders. The people, the poor, the peasant, in many places, we traveled a great deal in the past year, in places that are very hard to get to. Let me give you an example of road situation. In 1980, my hometown is Petit-Gua. In 1980, in 1 hour, now at 10 minutes, with no forcing, I would get from Port-au-Prince to Petit-Gua. Today, I will put at least 2.5 to 3 hours to get from Port-au-Prince to Petit-Gua. Progress. Okay? Now this is Petit-Gua, which is a week. This is right next door. It's nothing. Now when we're talking about places like Port-au-Prince, we're talking about Mont-Saint-Nicolas, we're talking about Tilleuer-Rouge. These are places when you go into them, if you have a bad back, you can't do that because you won't return. There are roads that you're looking at when you get to the road and you have to say, is that a road? Sometimes it looks like steps. Huge stones just here, layers of stones. You don't see how the car is going to go up this. Yet, people do it. People are starting to, more and more, individuals are starting to take up their responsibilities. That's one of the positive things. A lot of people have reached a point where they say, this whole business of government, oh boy, later for this. Let me see what I can do in my little realm to make life better here. In this little corner, very, very tiny. Forget about IT. I'm just going to take this little space here and let me see what I can do there. And that's very positive. Very positive. Throughout the country, we meet a group of people, women, men, all kinds of people, young people who are taking a lot of things into their heads and trying to improve their lives. That's very positive. Of course, there's always the different kinds of problems that they run into. Of course, even when you want to say, don't go into this, but there are positive things in all different areas. People are trying to take a hold of things. In the Vodoun world in particular, in the past, in the peristyle, the different convents, the different temples and convents, they never would have schools or anything. But today, a lot of Hunga are waking up that serving is very important. So some of them are trying to have a little school in their place so that the child who's raised in Vodoun does not have to go to the preschool and be harassed and bothered and whatnot and find himself constantly in contradiction between what he's taught at home and what he's taught in school. So there are things going on that are very positive in that. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Loas, for this enlightening lecture. And I would like you to try to comment on some of the recent events happening in IT, more specifically regarding to the biochemical warfare as applied to the land and to the
food production in Haiti, more specifically rice, and the destruction. You might want to talk a little bit about the destruction of the pork of Haiti, so that the audience can more or less.
Okay. Well, these things are pretty old. Okay, 1980, 79, 80. The United States had decided that there was an epidemic of fever that travels through porks. Pork, supposedly some pork in, I don't remember which island, were sick, and they had to kill the entire pork population in Haiti in order to protect Texas. I don't know if you guys are smart enough to follow this thing. See, pork is sick in this island over here, and they don't go destroy the pork there, okay? But since the wind can blow the disease over, so the pork in Haiti, the pork population in Haiti has to be eradicated in order to protect the pork population in Texas. Probably you guys are not very good in geography, that's why you can't quite catch it. But that's the way the information came down. And of course at the time, Jean-Claude Duvalier was the president, and he agreed, even he, I must say, we have to be fair to people. He refused at first. He submitted under pressure in the end, pressure and money. But at least at first he really was against it. But in the end he agreed, and the US came in with trucks and jeeps and everything, and they went to every corner of the country and killed all the pork. But to really appreciate what happened there, the pork in Haiti, in that time, pork is considered the bank of the poor man. A man who's not wealthy, who doesn't have a bank account in the bank, he will speak in those terms. This pork I will slaughter when school opens for children's uniforms and books. This pork I'm raising for when my daughter gets married. This pork here is for when there's a funeral or something, you know. So that's the way people, they don't deal with money, amassing money. So they know that they have this for this situation, this pork for that. So when you come in and you slaughter the population, of course there was a promise that after they slaughter the population, they will bring in nice, now we had black pigs at home. So they will bring nice little pink pigs who are so much prettier, and it will give so much more meat. So, you know, it will be a good thing for them. So yes, indeed, they kill all the black pigs. And if they killed, I don't know how many millions of black pigs, they came with a couple of hundred of pink pigs.
All right.
And those couple of hundred of pink pigs that they gave to the people, the pink pig, please, came with a little notice as to how to take care of it. The black pig, you just have it in the yard, and everything that you don't want, you throw it in front of it, and it will be a big, huge animal in a few months. The pink pig needs to have classical music. So it needs not to be around dirt. It needs a lot of wonderful things that people in Haiti don't have. So of course, the few hundred pink pigs they brought in died within a couple of weeks. So here we were. No pigs at all. Neither pigs nor black. And until now, they're trying to rejuvenate the peasants. So now they're, you know, I don't know, some of them I must say, of course, some of us, more old than others, were brave enough to hide their pigs. And so once the whole nonsense stopped, they brought their pigs out. And so we do have some black pigs, but the population is very small. And there's also a new race of pigs that's pink and black. But, you know, without going into a lot of details, know that this has been done, it's just one example that I went into details so you could see. But it's been done with everything. The person who was growing rice is no longer interested in growing rice because the rice that's flown in from Miami costs 1/5 or 1/4 of what he has to ask for his rice. So his rice is not selling, so he stops growing. And the same thing is the shoemaker in Haiti is practically disappearing. The dressmaker is practically disappearing because now we get wonderful second-hand clothes from the United States. Probably knowing enough of these people's history, knowing what they did specifically in Liberia, I am certain that a lot of contaminated second-hand clothes are being sold in the country. So, and it goes on and on. We won't even, every day now, well, the Minister of Health is announcing some food that should not be purchased, that has to be removed from the shelf, almost every day. So it's attacked from every way you turn. So you see, if you don't learn to control what you put in your mouth. Okay, yes, brother, I'm sorry.
I wanted to talk about Shaka Zulu, when he said. Okay, Shaka Zulu was not the greatest warrior in Africa. He's the greatest warrior there's been a movie about. Because in Africa we had warriors that could turn into a lion, tree, whatever, really scared the hell out of a lot of white people. And some of them are Bermuda is a cause, for some of them, when they tried during slavery, some of them got there and said they're not going any further. So they're talking about, whatever is in Bermuda. Is, we have warriors in Africa that really, when the white men say, okay, it's time to pray, this is our boat, you can pray on our boat, it will go on the water, pray and come up on the boat with sand on him. We have a lot of, but it's not just, there's no movie about that.
Thank you, brother. We need to open a school for us to learn how to do that.
There is one thing the brother said that I will pick up on. He talked about warriors who will turn into different animals or whatever. Don't take these things as some kind of spookiness. These are knowledges that we had, things we learn scientifically to do. But what happened is that in many cases, our people sometimes want to create so much mystery about something that the transfer of knowledge is not done. So the one who knows dies with it. And when he dies with it, then your enemy comes in and says, okay, your father used to turn into a pig. Can you turn into a pig? See, that's not true. It doesn't make sense. He did see your father turn into a pig. But he comes and asks you to give the proof, knowing that you did not learn to do it.
All right.
And as I said, there are people all over that have recently, I went to meet a man who has powers, frankly, I don't know how to explain them. But there is a man that will make a tree grow, banana tree, grow in front of you while you look at it. It will grow, he'll take the banana, put it in the earth. The plant will grow, in about 15 minutes, you have a banana, bunch.
Can you make one?
About 3 weeks ago, I saw this man. I was stunned. They said, this man needs to be the minister for agriculture. But what I worry about him is that, I don't know what kind of techniques, I don't know the details as to how he does it, though I know he does, he can do it. And you can take the banana, boil it, and eat it. It's not like some kind of illusion trick or whatever. But he asks you to pay for him to do it. And from the little dialogue that we have, I don't see this as somebody who he lacks a certain level of understanding to see that something like this could be so useful to so many people.
Destroy white people.
He only see it as some kind of gimmick to make money. And that is, you know, that's too bad. That is sad.
Sing somewhere.
Yes.
Sing the whole continent. That's enough.
This is it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You've been a wonderful audience. I have to say also, this is home base, African Echo. This is the first place I came to speak in recent years in the United States. And it was from here that I began to speak in many different places. So I want to say a big thank you to those who run African Echoes and to all the spirits who guide those who run Echoes. Echoes has been alive for 11, 12 years, going to be 12 years in June. 14, oh boy. It's been already since we celebrated the 10th? Goodness gracious. Wow.
You quit now, right?
Okay. Echoes will be 14 in June. And the 10th anniversary, I did make the wish that the next time I come to an anniversary celebration for Echoes, that it will be in their own building. And I noticed that they took this very seriously, and I know that they're working very hard at it. Yes. Oh boy, I can already see it. That's wonderful. Oh yes, put it in front of everybody. We must.
No, the water has reshaped it.
That's okay. There is enough there for all of us to be picking up, take this image and build it together. Let's all of us go with this in our mind. That the next celebration, we want Echoes in their own home. And we will work to do it also, but we must work at it here. That's where your power is. Here. Build what you want here first. Then you will find the means to do what has to be done materially. The problem with materializing anything is that we do not take the time to create it up here. Look at yourself for tomorrow. Look at yourself in the house that you want, in the street that you want, in the beautiful city that you want to be in. Create it. Block out the garbage that you walk through as you go home today. Clean it out in your mind, and then you'll find the way to clean it physically. But if we don't do it up here, we'll never do it physically. That's the power. That's where the power is at. That here is nothing. Flesh and bones. It will go away. But Bayyinah will never die.
Yeah.
You will never die. All the Ogu here will never die. All the Leba here will never die. The Aizan here will never die. Because that is your eternal art. The envelope you will give up. But you will always be. Be strong. Go in peace. But don't forget, you must fight like hell if anyone attacks you. Be great.
Sisters and brothers, 1 minute please. One more minute. Yusuf, can you come a minute please? Come on. Come on, Yusuf. Luke, let him through.
Great warrior. Great warrior.
Sisters and brothers, everybody knows Brother Yusuf. He does our recording. And he finally relented and gave it up. His birthday was on the 26th. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Yusuf. Okay. Thank you for everything. See you next week.
Right.